cannot hear you on the stream now.
Switch to streaming for a different thing. Now it should be good.
Gotcha.
Hello, friends. That should be good. Welcome back. Thank you for sitting tight for a little bit of those technical difficulties there. Let me just scooch us up a little bit above our very beautiful overlay made by Michael. Once again, shout out to Michael
It is
for
very
his.
pretty.
Isn't it cute?
Yeah, I love that.
I love it. I love hexagons. I'm like, yes, this is
Yeah.
my jam.
And it's so different from like your normal like rectangle across the whole screen. Like I like it, and I like that some of the hexagons are transparent. I think that's really cool.
It works very well also with the like creating a layout where like figuring out where I'm going to move certain things on the screen if you can see some space on the bottom there. So what he did with that is like
Oh
real
yeah, and
cute.
having the Extra Life Chicago and Lurie Children's logos down there is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
I know. So shout out once again to Michael for this beautiful exclusive Extra Life Chicago Pride layout. Overlay rather.
I need to show this to like our graphic designers and be like, first of all, we have to give it attribution to Michael, but second of all, like do stuff like this.
Yeah. It's cute.
Yeah, like
Aaron,
I love the minimalist layouts that we had, but then I liked the full ones better, but then I like that the minimalist ones had spots to put things.
yeah,
Yeah, the face
agreed.
cam sort of thing. But half the time
And
Yeah.
I'm like going into Photoshop and editing the face cam thing and like moving it around anyway to like some
so
other
Oh,
spot, you
that's
know.
so real quick, Aerodash said, "Are you able to bump up the other guest volume?" Because
Yes, I
apparently
am.
we are not. We are hard to hear.
How is that? You guys speak.
I am speaking. I speak sometimes.
you know
Tim,
what?
you're not.
Am I audible? Can you hear me? I need to speak up.
How does
I need
that
to
sound for
yell.
y'all?
Jackie said, "Oh, that's better."
Perfect. I think
Yay!
it's because you
Woo.
guys are through my desktop audio, and I normally want
Mm,
that lower than my voice because it's usually like game audio, so that's why
yeah,
I
for
had it
sure.
like way down.
There's
Um,
several different softwares that you can use, but they take so much programming to do. And like this microphone software can like break out Discord's chat as a separate volume too. But every time Windows updates, it messes it up. And so I'm like, well,
ah,
I'm not setting this every time it messes up. Yeah, everybody's saying sounds good.
Perfect. Honestly, I felt accomplished that I even put in for this stream this thing up in the corner that has like our total time played and the amount raised. And
Oh
that
yeah.
refers to Extra Life Chicago's account. So if you guys have been donating, which I see that you have been, because that number is higher than it was when we started. Thank you very much for your generosity, always for donating to Lurie Children's today. And yeah, and it shows the most recent like people donating. So look for your name up there. But basically, I just felt accomplished to even have put that in the stream because I haven't even done that for my own streams yet. So
Well, it
I need
looks
to
great.
see if anyone claim. I saw I got some donations, and I have incentives for my
oh,
donors.
I saw with a
They can either
logo.
get Yeah, they can either get a sticker or a mug. Uh,
That's cool. What is your page?
that's my team logo.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I
bad
like that.
gamers, good causes. I have a little D1, Nat 1.
Is
It's a
that
cute
y'all's
logo.
extra life team name too?
Yes, that's our extra life team. So everyone on my team got a little mug, and then they can also get a sticker with the logo.
Yeah,
Very
link
cool.
to the his to Tim's page one more time in the chat if our mods could do that, just so you could see if you're really jealous of these like cute mugs that Tim's holding up
They've
and
been working.
you want
I've
some
been getting people that
stickers.
want mugs.
They cute. I saw them when I went to donate to your page earlier. I saw that there was like an option to get them and I was like, "Ooh, mug logo."
Oh, I want both. So that's there are color choices.
There's color
Yeah.
choices, and they're first come, first served. So yeah, get on it.
Blue,
And all the
purple.
money that you donate for that goes to the amount raised by this stream. So throwing it out there.
Mm.
But without further ado, because I think we're running a little bit late, but that's just the name of the game here with Extra Life
That's
is
that's streaming and
running a
everything.
little bit late. Um, Adam, would you like to introduce yourself and kick us off?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. I am Adam Shafani. I am the Extra Life Community Manager. I use he, him pronouns. And I am here to talk to these two wonderful individuals about what it's like streaming as an LGBTQI plus streamer. I said two, I meant T. Sorry. And and then and what it's like being in this community and also like streaming for Extra Life and for Lurie Children's and everything. So thank you both so much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm not a member of the community, but I do appreciate being here and being able to talk to both of you and to learn and to give you the space to talk. I just ramble sometimes, so I apologize. But I would like y'all both to introduce yourselves because I'm not super familiar with Tim, so I'd like to learn more about Tim, and then we can go into some of the questions.
Okay, so I'm Tim. I have he, him pronouns. Um, I'm still like figuring out Extra Life as far
Sure.
as like what to do. It's weird because it's like my 7th year doing it, and I'm still like, what can I do to get more people to donate to this? And I like have
Mhm.
like info sheets always like rattling off stats, and they're like, okay. So I'm always trying to like. That's why I came up with like the mug thing. So it's like
Mhm.
if you want a mug, $50 to my page, you get a mug. I had
Mhm.
like 3 people get mugs. I'm like, yes,
You're gonna have a fourth right after this stream.
sweet.
Because I really like the design of the mug, so I'm going to end up getting one. But thank you. So Mel, how about yourself?
Cool. Yeah, I'm Mel, she, her pronouns. This is, I always forget. This is, I think, my 5th year with Extra Life. I think that sounds right.
You said that last year, so
Oh,
I'm going to just
dang.
bump
Am
you to
I on
sixth year.
6? Am I on
I,
6 this time?
I
That's
I think
crazy.
so.
Time is wild. Time is a weird soup. Yeah, yeah. So I guess I'm on 6 years. That's crazy. Um, but yeah, I know that I'm hitting 15,000
Woo! Good
lifetime
job.
soon, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so and I'm on the board for Extra Life, the Chicago Guild, one of the guild advisors on there, mostly for like events and stuff.
Mhm.
And as a member of the LGBTQ community, this was always like a focus of mine to kind of promote that within the spaces and make the spaces with Extra Life, like with Chicago and also nationally, if possible, like a safer space. And so that's why I'm really excited that we do this and that you are involved, Adam, as of last year and this year. Just think it's very exciting. So.
Well, I appreciate being here and y'all giving me the privilege to come here and talk to both of you. So thank you for that. And first, I would like to say congratulations again to the Extra Life Chicago Guild for winning the 2024 Rainbow Award. That's for anybody who's not aware of what that is. We at CMN hospitals have what's called flight crews. You would normally call them like resource groups, but because like CMN hospitals logo is like an air balloon. We call them flight crews because it goes along with that theme. But so the LGBTQI plus flight crew at CMN hospitals every year we pick somebody, be it hospital staff or fundraiser or I guess that's basically it. Hospital staff or fundraisers to win our flight cruise Rainbow Award, and I'm on that flight crew and to learn and to be better and everything. And so I always enjoy just kind of sitting there and listening to them and talk about various things. But 2 years ago was my first time on the flight crew when I started working at CMN hospitals, and we awarded the award was given to a hospital program director who specifically works in a gender clinic. So that was really great. And last year it was given to a dance marathon group in the West Coast, and they wanted all of their dance marathon funds to go to a gender clinic at that specific hospital. And so this year when they asked who should win, there were several voices that said Extra Life Chicago should win the Rainbow Award. So we're super happy about that, and we're glad that y'all won, and especially those of us that on the team that uh, there were two of us on the Extra Life team that was like definitely these people, and so we were super happy that y'all won. So I just wanted to say congratulations to that. That was really awesome to see.
Thank
So
you.
I would like to get in. So first, we'll talk about like specifically Extra Life, and then we can kind of go into some other stuff. So first of all, so Tim, I'll let you go first since you and I haven't talked before. So Tim, how did you get into Extra Life? Like, what's your story? What's your why?
What my why is I've had a lot of family members go through lorries,
Okay.
and I just happened across it one day. Like I don't even know how like, it was so long ago. I don't remember how I found it,
Hmm.
but then I was like, oh, it's a fundraiser for video games. Oh, it helped children's hospitals. Like this is great. Like I love gaming. So if I can play games and like help kids, like win-win.
Yeah, love that. Fantastic. Mel, how about yourself? How did you get into Extra Life?
My original in is how I imagine a lot of people's original in is, and unfortunately, a bit of a bittersweet story now, but it
Mm-hmm.
was through Rooster Teeth. I would request off of work every year to stay up with them and watch their 24-hour live stream.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just so cool the ways that the most absurd ways in which they would find to like raise money and generate the things that they were already doing, the gaming or the whatever else, like the platforms that they'd created, and turn that into fundraising for a local children's hospital. And then through that, I discovered that Extra Life Chicago had like a guild, and that there were
Mm-hmm.
people who were active within it and such. And so um, I started streaming, started being more active with the guild, and I think part of the reason why I love Extra Life so much and have, maintained being so involved, even past the lifeline of Rooster Teeth
Yeah.
as a company, is that I like that it really meets you where you're at, and it like whatever it is that you're already doing or already interested in, you can turn that into fundraising for Extra Life. And that also
Yep.
applies to like, your identities for me, and things that you're passionate about or causes that you care about. You can take those and have Extra Life meet you with that too. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I love about it, is that like anything that you're already doing or interested in, you can kind of find a way to turn that into fundraising for a good cause.
Yeah, it definitely is bittersweet because we were sad to see Rooster Teeth close, but it is good to Jack Patillo and his wife Katie Ward. They did say that they are planning to do something with Extra Life this year, so that's cool.
Hmm.
So love that. Also, I just noticed that your eyeshadow is like rainbowed across, so that's really cool.
Thank you.
Uh, I didn't notice that before, so that's really fun. Well, that's I'm glad you both kind of just like fell into it. That's we find that most people either just kind of discover Extra Life, be it through friends or family or through just other streamers that they're interested or other content creators, and then yeah, Tim, like you said, you just kind of happen to find it, and that's we love to see that people kind of finding Extra Life organically. We think that's really fun. Um, Go ahead.
Oh, I love it when people have a Lurie's connection, because I don't
Yeah.
necessarily have a like personal Lurie's connection directly, but I do
Hmm.
really love, my friends do. Every time I say that I'm fundraising for Lurie Children's, I get like five or six people being like, "Oh my God, I know somebody who went there. Like we love Lurie's in this house," and I get to hear a
Yeah.
lot of very moving stories. So I love it when people have a connection to the hospital.
Yeah, there are tons of extra lifers out there who do have a personal connection to their hospital. I have a personal connection to mine. I haven't been to Chicago since I was like in the seventh grade, so I need to I'm trying to find a work reason to come up there so I can visit Lurie Children's and everything. So maybe next year EOU will be in Chicago. Who knows? So that would be pretty cool. But definitely fun thing to go do. I would love to come visit the hospital. Yeah, Jackie says time to come back. Yeah, for sure. So thank you. So then that kind of leads into like my next question is, what are both of your experiences with Lurie Children's and with the Chicago Guild? Like, have you visited the hospital? That sort of, especially before COVID, because I don't know if Lurie's is doing tours again, because some hospitals still aren't.
So I went to I forget your convention that they do.
Oh, did you? Were you there?
I went to that one. They didn't have it this year yet, right? It was last year, or was it earlier this year?
No, I think we can reveal that we are not having one during the calendar year 2024 so that we can have one early 2025.
Oh,
Oh,
So
okay.
we
the
had
Gotcha.
one
one
that was last
late
year. Then I went
late
to that.
last year. Cool. Which was at the
That's awesome.
hospital.
That was cool. It was at the hospital, and they told me that before they had it at like an actual like convention place. But I thought it was cool to see the hospital, meet some of the patients, kind of hear their story while they're there, and it just kind of like made me want to do it even more. Like I need to raise more money for these kids.
Yeah. Getting there and and seeing that personal connection is usually super powerful. So
Yeah, ELCGC is so much fun. Everyone, if you're on the stream, and then all 19 of you who are watching the stream right now, if you don't know what ELCGC is right now, like ask one of our mods in chat and find our website and make plans to come because ELCGC is our little, gaming convention for Extra Life Chicago, and you guys should definitely come.
I need to fight for budget to go to Chicago. Like, hey, I need to go to this. We're like, what is it? Well, it's an Extra Life specific one. So,
Hmm.
yeah, Jackie says Hospital Game Day in December and ELCGC in March of 2025. That's
Yeah.
super cool. Very cool. Well, as far as like the guild is concerned, and so now we're going to start getting more into the like LGBTQI plus questions and stuff. So as far as the guild is concerned, like I know that they've been super supportive, but how can y'all speak to that, and how does the guild um, help you aside from, I guess, with this stream and aside from
Um,
that?
I so I haven't been keeping as current as I probably should have been with like the Chicago specific guild stuff. Like when I
Mhm.
saw they were doing this like Pride Parade stream, I was like, I want to do it. I have to do it because that's exciting. Like I don't usually participate in stuff like that. Like I don't go to Pride events just because it's a lot of people,
Mm,
crowds, not my thing. So having something like this where I could do that and kind of still help like a good cause, like I thought that was great. I was like, I want to be a part of this.
mm,
That warms my heart so much to hear because that is exactly kind of the purpose of this event is to make sure because like there's a lot about pride parades. I mean, listen, the Chicago Pride Parade tomorrow 11 a.m. I'm gonna be there. You know your girl's gonna be there. But like, and I usually try and bring like people who've never been before just for their first pride to be like, all right, if you want a safe place, safe way to experience pride, let's go do it. And so I love doing that, but it's just not for everybody, and it's a
mm,
lot of crowds. It's not necessarily very like accessible for people with disabilities. It's not really like just everybody's scene. And I suppose you could also say if it's not, you're seen to have it be kind of as corporatized as it sometimes can be, it's that way as well.
mhm,
So I think having a space like this, which is like our virtual pride parade, where we kind of envision that each of the streamers is their own kind of float in the parade, is like just so valuable. So
Yeah,
I love that.
y'all actually jumped ahead to one of my other questions, which was now that in-person Pride Parade, are in full swing again, like, why do you continue to do the virtual Pride Parade? So I love that was kind of like a natural transition for y'all, especially for you, Tim. Like, you don't do Pride Parade; it's too many people. It might be maybe it's an like audio issue as well, just because I know like parades can be super loud too. And I'm not normally a parade person myself, so I totally feel you on that as well, Tim. I do want to go to the Memphis Pride, but this year or parade, but it was this year. It was on my birthday, and I had already had plans and everything, so I was like, well, I can't make it now. But I am glad that y'all continue to do this, Mel, and that way you have a place for people like Tim who don't want to go to Pride, to the Pride Parade or the Pride Festival, because I believe Chicago has both.
Hmm.
And then that way it gives you time, or it gives you a space to join in the celebration, but where you're comfortable with
It's
it.
I would say it's
Yeah.
a lot. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No, no,
it's
you're good.
a
Please.
lot like what Extra Life does is tries to kind of meet you where you're at, and like
Hmm.
what I like my old spiel about Extra Life before is just very much I think it like you can do it and celebrate who you are and other streamers are, in the comfort of your own home or
Mm.
wherever you are comfortable streaming from, wherever that might be. So,
Yeah, for sure. Well, and yeah, and you're going to be comfortable in your own space, and with your people. Like
mm,
I got to watch a little bit of your stream before I came in, Tim, and yeah, you were streaming with another person on audio, and like that's where you're comfortable playing Minecraft and everything. And so that's a great way to still express pride, especially with this gorgeous overlay, and still express your pride and everything, and celebrate during this month or at any time during the year, and where you're comfortable and you're not like out of your element like you would possibly be in a parade. So I think that's fantastic. Um, as far as moving away more from the extra life side, more just into being a streamer in this community. Um, can you speak to your whatever you're comfortable with? Can you speak to your experience being an LGBTQI plus streamer just in general? Like, what about it? You know, what about being in this community and being a streamer is a positive thing for you? And like, are there any difficulties? If you're okay, talking about that. If not, please just talk about what makes you energized about it.
mm,
Um, I think I've been pretty fortunate to not have any issues with anyone like becoming like difficult in my chats or anything like that because I feel like I don't want to say like I hide it, but like I don't project it as much as like in your face when I'm streaming.
Sure,
So like it's like I'm comfortable doing it. It's like if it comes up, like I won't deny it. Like I will
sure,
totally own that. But it doesn't often, and I feel like yeah, it hasn't caused me any issues as far as that goes. Like I've had people
that's good.
be jerks for other things, but
mm.
that's
Yeah,
what the ban button's for, right?
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Bye
Yep.
bye.
I would say for me, I also am pretty fortunate in like having cultivated a space. Like clearly I'm pretty open about it
Yeah.
with my backgrounds and stuff, but so like and it comes up a lot, or I mean, I'm also just not able to not talk about certain things. I'm just very chatty about them and stuff. And so for that kind of thing, like it definitely comes up, but I've definitely
Hmm.
cultivated a space of people who are generally like of like mind or are supportive or are safe people to be around, And so I think for that reason, we've avoided most sort of problems. And I think also just like the benefit of not being a very big streamer personally. I don't think I have very many followers on Twitch, and I think it's, my only streams are really when I'm streaming for Extra Life, and so I've kind of lucked out in that way.
Hmm.
But I will say beyond, I've definitely seen that kind of harassment and speech
For
come
sure.
up in other people's streams when I've been watching people's streams. Especially I would say if they're not identified from the community too. Sometimes people consider that a safe zone if somebody is not of community that then you can like say
Say terrible
something.
things.
Yep, exactly, and
Mm.
kind of get away with it or have it be under the radar. Um, and then I'll say like beyond just like the worst case scenario things that jump to mind,
Sure.
Sure, I mean there's tons of times where I've been like playing a video game like Harvest Moon is one of my favorite games. I'm a big Harvest Moon girl.
Harvest Moon, yes.
More than Stardew Valley. That's my hot
Oh,
take.
Oh, Tim,
Controversial opinion.
I think you
I
just hit Tim in
wrote
the heart.
I wrote a 15-page research paper on Stardew Valley. Don't be
Wow.
dishing that.
Ooh, I'm not dissing her, but here's the thing about Stardew Valley that it does kind of win out over Harvest Moon is I'm a Harvest Moon girly, but how many times have I played a game where it's like I'm playing as the girl because I'm like, that's what I'm gonna pick, and then like I'm like, oh, this girl's so cute. Why can't I romance her? The game says no,
Hmm.
like, and that's like a much less extreme way in which you don't necessarily see yourself always represented in games or in options, things that you can do within games, and so I think that's actually a more often way that I've run into it in games that I've played is that I've been like, oh, I don't see myself in this game, and that's okay. I don't need
Mm.
to see myself, in every character in every game.
But
But
inclusion does matter, so it,
yeah,
it
I,
is it is nice to
I'm
see when it's included.
mhm.
I'm a little confused because they allow that in Stardew Valley.
I know. That's what I'm saying is that Stardew
Oh,
Valley
you
wins out a little bit.
wins
I'm
that way. Okay, I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about like
no.
like they didn't allow it and that's what killed it for you. And I
No,
was
not
like,
at all. Not at
oh,
all.
oh, that
I
makes sense now. That makes sense.
no, you're good. I'm saying I've always been loyal to Harvest Moon and their style
Mm.
of games over Stardew Valley. However,
Which Harvest Moon
mine are like the
Ooh.
OG
or
original
s-
ones. I
or
haven't played the new
Story of
ones.
Seasons?
Hmm?
Because
I
Story of Seasons are they developed the original Harvest Moon and then they split with the publisher, but the publisher owns the copyright on Natsumi. They own the copyright on the Harvest Moon title.
oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
newer Harvest Moons are made by a different development company. Story of Seasons is made by the original Harvest Moon
Mm.
developer.
Interesting. I haven't played a lot of the new ones. I play a lot of like Friends of Mineral Town and like,
Oh, I love that one.
the old ones.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad y'all found like a cozy game that speaks to you. So that's not necessarily like I am the person that like is right now playing the DLC for Elden Ring and just like beating my head against a wall but loving it. So
Well,
so
hey,
I
listen,
totally get
listen.
it.
It's not all my games because my favorite game series, other than actually my background on my phone is what do you call it? Horizon Zero Dawn. But other than those games,
Oh,
um, my
love
favorite,
that. There's a tremor tusk right there
I see
from the
it.
newer game.
I
Yeah.
see it. Other than that one though, it's my favorite game series is Dragon Age, which is
Oh yeah. Very
I'm
inclusive. Yeah.
incredibly seen by Dragon Age. Of
I'm
course there's some debate about how they portray it from game to game to
mm,
game, but which has been a hot topic with a new game coming out too. But all of
yes,
that
the new
is
game is very much a hot topic.
yeah.
I'm hopeful for the new game. So we're just a quick non-sec or like quick aside. We are very much a Horizon household. I love it. My wife loves it. My son loves it. And so we were playing. I was playing the DLC for the newest one, and
Hmm.
I won't spoil it, but a character finds finally finds some romance, and my son was like, "Yes!" It was really funny. So for that character to find the romance, and it's a queer story as well, so it's very nice.
Yay.
So that was fun. So he was super super excited about that. But anyway, yeah, back to the thing. So that kind of leads into like so as far as like you've both said you've been fortunate enough to not have like super negative experiences. So what would be like the coolest thing about being in the LGBTQI plus community and being a streamer? Is there like some overlap there for you? Do you find community there? Stuff like that.
Hmm. I have to think about that.
Okay.
I feel like the community in general, like as far as my experience, is very supportive of each other.
Hmm.
Like you could be complete strangers, but if you know that like you're both like in the community, you're like you got each other's back, whatever happens.
That's
Mm,
At
great.
least as far as like I've experienced it. So I feel like when I'm streaming, if something comes up, and it's happened rarely, like immediately in chat, I have like a bunch of other people that are like
Hmm.
backing me up before I even have a chance to notice what's going on. So I think that's huge for me.
Hmm.
That like I'm not by myself with this guy attacking me or whoever.
mm.
Like they say something and immediately like two, three other people are like on them, like, what are you like, get out of here.
Well, good. I'm glad you got a supportive community that helps you moderate that.
Yeah, totally. Um,
Hmm.
And listen, I'm just going to say, in my opinion, I just think that queer people are funny. And I just think it's part of
It's
maybe
true.
having to like laugh through adversity at times and having to, have some experiences that like sometimes, you have to really like knuckle down and tough it out. And sometimes it's just like you learn to laugh it off or you learn to find ways in which to like enrich those experiences. And so I
Hmm.
honestly find that, at least in my opinion, like there's just a certain syntax and a certain way of speaking or phrasing jokes that feels very specific to like the LGBTQ community to me. And I enjoy being a part of that, and also just having people who will bounce those jokes off of me, and
Hmm.
get certain references, and reference those things right back at me from, my chat or from my community, or when I'm like streaming with someone, and we're able to just kind of do the most absurd like runs of jokes,
Hmm.
and I think that's something that jumps to mind as something that enriches my experience of like I remember streaming like playing one time Among Us with a bunch of friends, and then one person in the Among Us game like was like not moving or doing anything. We're like AFK, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, I'm watching the lacrosse game." Like it was like, was it lacrosse or was it cricket? It was cricket, and it was like
Uh,
some national cricket team, and they're like, "Sorry, I'm just really invested." And all these people were like, "Kick this person, kick this person." We were running the room, and we were like, "No, give us the live. Like, what's the live thing? Like, listen, if
yeah,
you're the imposter, you can tell us, and we won't, or kick you out as long as you let us know who's winning. Like we're
yeah,
invested in this game now." And then like the sub game of the Among Us game became like what's happening on the national cricket team, and then they like they did die at one point, or like somebody like they vote other people who are less funny than us voted them out and didn't think it was funny for the game, and so they voted them out. So then I started googling the like cricket game and was like, "Don't worry buddy, I got you, the current score is this, I don't know who these teams are." But and that just felt very much like a I don't even know how to explain how that's queer coded, but it was from us like
hmm,
talking with this person who's a stranger who we met, who just happened to fall into like our group, and immediately we jived with the idea of like, okay, now there's a sub game to the game, that is this other thing. And just somehow that felt, and then we chatted with them afterward, and they were from the community and stuff, and it was just like
hmm,
it was just fun to like I don't know, like have people immediately pick up on this absurd sort of humor where like you can have a undercurrent running joke that just is somehow coded in a way that it's like, okay, I see you and your, style of humor.
yeah.
So I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's definitely like something
No,
I've
that makes
found.
sense. Well, that's awesome. So as far as like getting more into like the gaming and stuff like that, so uh, first of all, I've got a few questions on this. So like, does does gaming or any like other nerdy hobbies that you could use for extra life or for streaming or just in for fun, do any of those things like did gaming help you find community just in general, not necessarily as an LGBTQI plus streamer, but does gaming help you find community and help you um, deal with our world and how awful it can be sometimes? Do those things help you at all, or is it just like for me, it's a way, gaming is a way to relieve stress, even though Elden Ring is stressful, and it's a way to just, I guess, it's kind of an escapism. Does that help for y'all at all?
I have actually met a lot of friends from just like playing games. Like some of
Hmm.
them are still just like online friends, but some of them have actually like met and we've become good friends, either from video games or I also play like Magic the Gathering.
Oh yeah.
So
Nice.
going to like my local card shop and they have weekly events and meeting new people there, like that's really helped me
Hmm.
broaden my social circles as far as like gaming goes.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, totally agreed in that, and like people that I've met. And I would say also what uh, doesn't get, we talk about video games a lot and stuff
Hmm.
with Extra Life, and sometimes we can overlook tabletop, but I feel like for me, having been a D&D player, originally Pathfinder. Exactly. No, originally Pathfinder, but then kind of moving more into D&D as I got older. Since I
Hmm.
was in junior high, I think that there is an
Oh, you
ability.
got the dice.
Yes, you got the dice, the
I
tabletop
don't
Yeah.
have
creature.
mine yet.
But no, I think that being playing D and D and playing role playing games like that from when I was
Hmm.
young allowed me to, even before I knew anything about myself or who I was, and I would say even for people who are not from the community, who are like straight or cis, you know,
Hmm.
gamers playing at a D&D table, I think that it allows you to put on different hats and different experiences a lot of the time, and to kind of you're very rarely going to be playing just yourself,
Yeah.
or like you or your experience. You often are going to be
Hmm.
trying to role play to explore other experiences, and even if that doesn't include like different gender or sexuality expressions, a lot of times it does. And it is a
Hmm.
lot of people's kind of first chance to kind of play with that or have a safe space that's like, not directly harmful. If you've got a good group of people that you trust that you're playing with,
Sure.
for you to kind of try on those experiences, which sounds flippant, but it really is kind of for me. Like before I realized that I was queer, I was playing like a queer leaning character in role playing spaces because I was like, oh,
Sure.
I should represent this or see what this is like. It's not me, but it's like I'll try it. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's a safe place for a younger me to kind of explore that idea or like,
Hmm.
do that. And I think that that's also how a lot of people like break down gender ideas in their head of like if they
Hmm.
play a character of a different gender and they go, oh, like a lot of this doesn't have to be like inherently biologically different in this way. It's like, no, it's kind of a different experience and socially constructed and all
Yeah.
that. And so for me, I want to video games have definitely done it, but I think more so role playing games have been a very large space that's allowed me to kind of explore myself.
I mean, I would definitely agree. And you touched on the gender topic, like the Mass Effect games. I almost exclusively have played. Like I did Mass Effect 1 as male Shepard, and then I did Fem Shep for 2 and 3 just because or oh gosh, I'm blanking on her name. Not Lizzie Hale. That's a rock star.
Oh, Jennifer
Um,
Hale.
Jennifer Hale, thank you. I was like, I know Hale's
Gotcha.
in the name. Why am I
Yep.
blanking on her name? She's a fantastic voice actor,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, I played as her, and I didn't play a straight version of her, and so not trying to like do that, but yeah, it's definitely the experience of like not playing as a straight white man during a game. So yeah, I get that. That makes sense. And try using role playing games to try out new identities, and not necessarily like you said, not in a flippant way, but just it's a new experience for you, and it ends up leading to a new learned experience. So I think that's fantastic. Um, and then as far as so you've talked about like Tim, you've said like as far as pride looks for you, like you're not like actively out there supporting or like like putting it out there during your streams, but just in general, not about streaming. Like for both of you, like what does pride look for you and like look like for you? Do you how do you celebrate if you do celebrate, and not just in June, but like how do you represent yourself throughout the whole year?
Uh, Um, mm,
Yet
throughout
again, if you're
the
comfortable answering, if you're not, don't. So.
yeah, like throughout the year, like I don't know, I kind of just do like ordinary me, but then June rolls around and I have like rainbow everything.
Yes.
So I'm like, I flaunt it. I just spent 2 weeks in San Francisco for
Nice.
it. I was
Cool.
like, ooh, this is pride flags everywhere. I feel safe.
History. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
came home.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 2 coworkers in San Francisco right now, and they both belong to the community, and they're I'm watching them on Instagram, and it's like, oh, they are having a blast.
Yes.
So,
I love that. Yeah, I think for me, a big part of it has been as I've gotten like older, which probably sounds silly because I'm 31, but I still
mm,
think because my job is one where I work with younger people and I work with high
mhm,
schoolers and people in college. For those who don't know, I'm a shift supervisor at a Starbucks. I'm a barista. Um, because I work a lot with like younger people too, it's really made me recognize the ways in which that like I've embraced like the elder queer, or like somebody who's kind of already figured like not everything out, but some things out and has already
sure.
like experienced certain things or had to have certain conversations with people who that did go well or that didn't go well. And I
Mhm,
am in a position of being able to give like more advice or take people to their first pride parade or like there's ways in which I'm kind of able or like recommend certain books, or whatever.
mhm,
And so like I've recognized the ways year round and also like especially during June when I'm able to
mm.
kind of be like, all right, I'm Mama Mel, like I'm the queer mom of the store. I've been called that before. Um, and yeah, I just have that be like a part of my that's become very intrinsic about my experience. Um, as a, queer person. And I think the best thing about that experience by far has been also finding the myriad of ways that I have learned from them, and that I've
Mm,
realized, like, wow, that is a 18-year-old who has 5% of the hangups that I had about
yeah,
this
for sure.
identity, or about, other identities, than I had when I was that age. And that is, like, it makes
Mm,
me emotional sometimes, like, to, like, just look at, how far, like, people have come in terms of, where they are at, and the thinking they've done, and the conversations that they're able to have with each other, when it, like,
mm.
wasn't a thing that we really talked about much when I was in high school. And so, yeah, I think that that's the thing that's always on my mind, like, year round, but especially during Pride.
Yeah, it's very encouraging to see, like, when you look at generational statistics and you see like how much the percentage of people identify per generation is increasing every generation. Like,
Hmm.
basically silent generation and boomers is like a little tiny bit. And then like Gen X is a little bit bigger, millennials is a lot bigger than Gen X, and then Gen Z is like far outpasses millennials. And
Yeah.
it's just, I think it speaks to a lot of what you were saying, is people, are being comfortable and are not necessarily having like the experiences that people had like when we were growing up. Like, I'm 36, so like in the 90s, like, you know being part of this community was a very different thing in the 90s than it was, um than it is now. And like, even as a straight person, I can recognize that and see that of like the norms in the 90s, and like how it was like, you watch a sitcom and there's basically like, gay, anti-gay, and trans jokes all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's like you watch TV nowadays and it's just a normal part of a show. And that's like tons of cartoons my son watches. Like,
Mm-hmm.
having queer characters is normal now, and I think
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And so yeah, I think
And unfortunately,
I oh, go ahead. No,
unfortunately, I do think as it's become more of a normalized thing, we've seen an increased amount of pushback in,
for sure.
new ways. And so, I don't want to paint a glossy, picture over it, but
Yeah.
from the youth,
Yeah.
themselves, I have been able to learn a lot and being very inspired. Not necessarily the world or the country's response to the youth, but from the kids themselves that I work with, I've been very moved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
I've noticed
um
that. Oop,
Go, no, please go.
I was gonna say I've noticed that like when I was in high school, there was there was one guy who was out,
Me too.
and
Hmm.
he was bullied
Same.
relentlessly,
Hmm.
and that made me like, okay, I have to hide this. Like, I cannot let anyone find out.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And but now, like nowadays, I have like younger family members, and they talk about their friends, like a guy having a boyfriend, and it's just like that's just every day. Like that's normal. That's nothing
Hmm.
wrong with
Hmm.
that. And I'm like, this is the generation I wish I grew up in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry you had that experience, but it is encouraging to see younger folks not have those experiences, or at least in some areas, not have
Hmm.
those experiences. So
Right.
that's nice. I will want to point out something from the chat that Mr. Withers said, "Coming soon from Bethesda soon, the Elder Queer." I thought
I
that was,
saw it. I love
I had
it.
to
Saw
stop.
that and I laughed. I'm like, I hope she doesn't think I laughed at her because you said something that was like, oh, that's an inopportune time to laugh.
Oh,
Don't
I
worry.
held it in. I was like, "Don't look at it again." Like,
No, that's
thought that
good.
was
That's
very
Peyton.
good.
That's Peyton in
Yeah.
the chat. Yep, 100%.
That was very good. I appreciate that. Well, that's really all I had as far as like prepared questions about like about your experiences being part of the community, about being like a member of Extra Life and everything. So a couple things before I like go into just some random crap. So first of all, Tim and Mel, thank you both so much for letting me talk to you. I know that this is a respectful community that you've got here with the Chicago Extra Life Guild. I know that doesn't always permeate through the rest of the internet. And so I do appreciate the opportunity, not being part of the community, to be here to talk to both of you, to learn from both of you and everything. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And so second thing that I want to, now we're getting into like non sequiturs. So y'all talked about like, Stardew Valley and, Dragon Age and other games you played. So what are you playing right now?
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be a video game. It can be whatever tabletop game or anything. What are you playing right now, or what's your main thing right now? It could be reading or anything. And then like, what is your favorite tabletop game and video game? I know it's a
Want
hard
me to
question.
pick favorites?
Mm.
My
It's
Steam
hard.
library is over 400 games. I cannot pick a
I
favorite.
saw, wait, I saw a friend of yours in your chat roasting you for playing Minecraft. Did you see your friend do that
Yes, I saw,
when you're
and
at a
I
400 library and they were like, shows Minecraft.
I warned them, like, I had to pick something family friendly, and this is the one I'm most familiar with.
Mhm.
Like,
That's
I
fair.
could totally legit, like, for sure, no, nothing's gonna come up that
Right.
wouldn't be totally kosher.
Hmm.
So, yeah. Um, right now, I've been playing a lot of, like, Elder Scrolls Online
Oh, nice.
and Satisfactory and
Jeff, my coworker Jeff would love that.
a similar game that just came out. It's in early access called Foundry,
Okay.
which is it's like Satisfactory meets Minecraft meets Factorio.
Oh.
Okay.
It was an and that like when they described it like that, that's what like caught me. I'm like, I have to check this out.
Mm.
It's actually kind of addicting. And I think as far as like games go, that's that. And then Magic the
Mm.
Gathering. I'll play that with friends regularly.
Mm. That's fun. Yeah, the Extra Life program director Jeff is a huge Satisfactory fan, so I'll have to tell him about
Mm.
Foundry. That's pretty cool. And yeah, Magic is super popular in the community, and our two support folks, Rick and Eric, they both play Magic, and so if anybody's going to Ignite or ELU Extra Life United, both Rick and Eric will probably have decks if you want to play them. So there you go.
Yeah.
What about you, Mel?
I was going to jokingly say, speaking of that, I have been playing Shifting Stones. I have been
Oh, nice.
playing Love Letter. I have been playing a mystery game. No, um, those are the games that I'm competing in for
Sure.
ELU. No, I think Peyton in the chat, Mr. Withers, has been dragging me fully enthusiastically into Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh,
Little
love that game.
behind the times on that, but I have been having a great time with that one,
Hmm.
and very much enjoying that. It's just sometimes it's hard for my computer to run it, but
Mm.
I've been playing that one. I always go to and from Hades. Like I don't,
It's a good game.
never leave Hades for long, honestly. Speaking of games with like a lot of queer rep and
Hmm.
a thing that we don't see very often. Where's my flag? Can you see it? Yeah, in my hair thing. Ace rep. You have an asexual character, which is not
Oh,
something,
nice.
a community that is, we don't get represented very often, especially in romance oriented games.
Yes.
So, loved that from Hades very much, from Dusa.
Hmm.
Spoiler warning, I guess, for her character. And then I have a couple D&D games that, again, one is in one that I'm in with Mr. Withers, and then another one is my coworkers at Starbucks really wanted me to build like a D&D campaign for them, and they were
Oh,
like,
cool.
zombie apocalypse. And I was like, God, it's so hard to build zombie apocalypse in a D&D in like 5e because like clerics and
Yeah.
paladins and stuff exist and zombie stats. So I
Just
found
nuke them.
exactly turn undead, done, easy.
Yeah.
But I found a way to like tweak the rules and create a plot line that
Mm.
alters things to have it be um, about that. And I'm very excited about that campaign as we've just kind of been trying to get it started up and stuff. That has been a lot of my brain has been kind of on that and on the concept of like, okay, what story am I trying to tell here if I'm
Yeah.
focusing it on zombies
Cool.
in a medieval setting.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. If you don't mind me asking, so what character or what class and stuff are you playing for Baldur's Gate 3?
My current character, I've got two characters, one that I play on the side when Peyton is not available to play, and then the one that is my main. And my main is a Dwergar monk,
Oh, cool.
and
Very
she's
fun.
a what's it called, a shadow step monk, like the ninja y kind of
Yeah.
teleport, sneaky kind of monk,
I've
which
never played a monk. I just realized that.
this is also my first time ever playing a monk. but not my first time. I'm always on team dwarf or dwergar. I'm like, if you won't play a dwarf, you're a coward. Everyone loves elves, everyone loves humans, everyone loves whatever other cool playable race there is. If you haven't
Mm.
played a dwarf in a game, I don't respect you. I'm kidding. Of course I do, but I feel very strongly about playing dwarves in games, and so when I had a chance to continue the dwarf agenda in Baldur's Gate 3, I was like, well, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I gotta take advantage of it.
Hmm.
Well, very cool. I know we're at time, so I know y'all's next person is getting ready to go. So yeah, again, thank you so much for both being here and letting me ask you questions and everything. Um, yeah, thank you so much. I don't know if,
Yep.
I don't know how to sign off. I'm bad at sign
No,
off.
you're so fine. It's kind of like a funny thing, but yeah, no, absolutely. Happy Pride to both of you.
Thank you.
Um, thank you very much. Been nice having you guys along and chatting with you guys for the stream. Thank you very much to everyone who has streamed before, including you, Tim, and everyone who has donated. So we really appreciate your generosity. And
Uh, Real
yeah.
quick, Arrow Dash said, waiting for a response if you want to keep going.
Oh, cool. Sick.
I
Yeah, I was
don't
gonna
have any
say,
more questions, but
are
but if
there
we
any?
want to stall for time, we can.
Hey, I'm good. I was seeing some discussion of like, loading up a certain game and stuff in chat. So I think
Mm,
that's probably kind of what they're waiting on. So that is totally fine. I guess I'm curious of we talked about like certain games that we're playing and stuff and ones with rep and like are there any it doesn't have to be a video game character, but are there any
mm,
like queer identified characters that you have, you particularly like or that you remember, noticing as a kid or like having, or maybe as you were growing up being like, oh, look, that's a character who's like canonically that and that's important to me for both of you. And also, I feel like there tends to be a tendency for like women to be asked what female characters do you like, and
mm,
for queer people to be asked what queer characters do you like. So I'm gonna
mm.
also kind of flip that on you too, Adam, and be like,
Sure.
as a person who's not in the community, are there any characters that you have really enjoyed seeing their journey or enjoyed seeing how it was portrayed, who are queer identified?
Sure. Tim, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first? Either way is fine.
I am struggling to remember
All good.
characters that fit into this category here. Like, I know they exist because I know I've had points where I'm watching something, I'm just like, oh,
Mm,
it's so cute. But can I remember the character of the show? I cannot.
Maybe we'll
So
okay.
jog
go ahead
memory.
and
Yeah.
I'll see
I've
if I
got a few.
can.
I've got a few. As far as like games that you brought up Aloy. Most of the first two games, it very much seems that Aloy is going to be Ace. That
Hmm.
changes in the DLC. Sorry,
Hmm.
spoilers if anybody hasn't played the DLC.
That's okay. But trust me,
Um,
Spoiler.
as an ace person, I did definitely
yeah,
headcanon that. But yes.
she was not interested in any of the people whatsoever. Uh, there's a character in the DLC that happens to, and
Hmm.
so that's great. I love the Horizon series, and Aloy's a fantastic character. So that's one. Um, Multiple characters in Baldur's Gate are fantastic characters, so love those as well. Trying to think of the things that other things that I've played recently. I don't think anything else strictly identifies that way. Either it's like create your own character type thing, or
Hmm.
like that does, or like identity doesn't really come. That type of identity doesn't come into it so much. Because the last game I beat before I started playing Elden Ring was Tales of Kinzera or Kinzera Zao, and that's not part of that at all.
Hmm.
And so fantastic game, by the way, if anyone wants to play it. And so there's that. As far as books are concerned, I read a lot of fantasy books, and so especially in the last like 10 years or so, queer characters are popping up more in fantasy books. So that's fantastic. I'm reading some Brandon Sanderson right now, and he's got a couple queer characters in some of his books, but he tries to spread representation out pretty thickly, or as far, and especially when it comes to like mental health and stuff like that. He's really more exploring that than other things. I will say, like in the Stormlight Archive, there's one character that is queer, and then like it's just treated as totally normal, and I loved seeing that.
Hmm.
Um, there have been tons of queer characters that pop up in shows that my son watches. He just finished Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beasts. If you haven't
Yes.
watched
Oh
that,
my
that's a
God, that one's
yeah,
amazing.
love that show. And so he loved that show, and he thought it was great. And uh, Benson is one of his favorite characters in that show, and Benson's a queer character, and so he liked that one. Voltron, he just finished the Voltron Legendary Defenders that has like a billion seasons on Netflix. It's
Hmm.
and so he really enjoys that show, and there's some queer representation in that show as well. One of my favorite shows with queer representation is Schitt's Creek. I love Schitt's Creek. I
Mm.
think it's hysterical.
Everyone tells me
Uh,
to watch
uh,
it.
it's a very funny show, and it does have a beautiful story to it. So especially in the later seasons, so I really did enjoy Schitt's Creek. So as far as like queer characters are concerned, that's the case. And then if you talk about the gender flipping, I would say definitely Aloy, and Fem Shep from Mass Effect, although that's years
Yes.
ago. Judge JLo says it's hysterical. It is. I'm not joking when I say like there were multiple times watching Schitt's Creek that I fell off the couch laughing and like couldn't breathe. I had to pause the show. It's so funny.
Oh, look at
Um,
somebody in the chat said Klaus from Umbrella Academy, and they're so right for that.
oh
God,
yes,
Umbrella
that's
Academy.
true.
Yes.
Umbrella Academy has had very much an up and down as far
Uh,
as like how much I like the show for me,
I agree.
but Klaus is a great character. Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
Ted Lasso. Yeah.
So
Ted
listen,
Lasso is
I
great.
was waiting. I was politely just waiting to bring up Ted Lasso because Ted Lasso is a show that I'm famously a big fan of.
Mm,
And when I ordered my first piece of Ted Lasso merch, I'm mad that I don't have it down here with me actually. I did not order any of the shirts that were already made that you could get, the
mhm.
jerseys. I specifically got the one where, you know, presumably you could put any number you like and what any name you like. Nah, forget that. I put 12 and Hughes because Colin Hughes, and that was before season 3 when it was
Mhm.
confirmed, but there were enough hints throughout the show and little moments for him and moments when it would zoom in on his face and whatever. And obviously the grinder joke, that was probably the most obvious that
Mhm.
it got. But there were other moments too that I was picking up on where I was like, oh, this guy is like very queer coded to
Mhm.
me. And then when they canonized that in such a beautiful way, honestly, I love that character. So I had already bought his jersey and I had colored it in myself to make the numbers rainbow. So
Nice.
just like a you would have like a pride kit basically if you were, like a like playing professional football and they have pride kits
Mhm.
and stuff, and so I decorated it um, like that. So one of the ones that jumped to my mind was definitely Ted Lasso and that whole
Mhm.
storyline. Um, and then the other one that is like a game that I played more recently because it came out last year. And I
Mhm.
played it because there's a lot of voice actors that I like and that I respect. But Stray Gods came out last year, and I
Straight
know
nuts.
that falls
No.
maybe more into the category of like a visual novel than it does a video game. Sometimes people get uptight about what you would
No, it's
classify
a
that
video
as,
game.
but it's a musical video game. It's
Oh,
a
I remember this
it's a
one.
video game that is a musical, and
Yeah.
you change the song as you make different choices. And so the song that happens, because you're playing a muse, you're playing a
Mhm.
like from the ancient Greek gods, you're playing as this muse. And
Mhm.
you can romance different Greek gods and stuff, and they can be queer romances and stuff. That go along, and there's canon other like relationships in it that are queer or are also just a lot of people of color, which is good, in terms of the
Mhm.
representation of these gods, um, and such. And I enjoy the characters a lot from it. And there's different characters you can romance, but I ended up falling for the roommate character, who's the only character you can romance who's not a god. Um,
Hmm.
and there's this whole like third act moment with her where like you have to like decide whether or not to like leave her in hell, like in Hades,
Yeah.
because the cost of bringing a mortal soul back from like Hades could like destroy the world and the whole fabric of death and stuff. And I remember just sobbing and having that moment that I think a lot of people had for what's that game that is very much like choose whether your girlfriend lives or whether the world lives.
Oh,
Oh my God, it's not The Last
Shadow
of
of
Us.
Colossus.
No, it's not The Last of Us. It's oh my God, with the butterfly. My roommate has a tattoo of it. Oh, that's so annoying. What is
You
the?
sure it's not The Last of Us?
Is it The Last of Us? No, The Last of Us is a zombie game,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right.
Oh no,
Which what?
somebody else in chat help me with what game this is. It's an iconic game, and it's an iconic
What
queer
happens during
game.
the game?
I have not played it.
Oh, okay.
But I know that there is a
Butterfly.
choice. Spoilers at the end. Life is Strange. There it is.
Oh, yes, yes,
Life is
yes, yes.
Strange. A choice kind of between that, and there's a bit of a choice kind of if you do this one romance path.
Hmm.
In Stray Gods at the end, where I remember just sobbing and being like, "Screw the world, she's my girlfriend." I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
I don't care about these stupid gods. They can all die. I won't care about this one mortal woman.
sure.
So that's my little tangent. Is that those are the two that jump to mind. And I recommend Stray Gods. It's very fun, and it's got Laura Bailey and Ashley Johnson and
Oh,
other
nice.
good voice actors in it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well, it
Tim.
looks
Did you
like.
think? Are they
Oh,
ready?
yeah, go ahead.
I wanted Tim to get a chance if he thought of
For sure.
someone. Yeah.
I was like scrolling through my whole library trying to like there must be a game, but it's all like either strategy games or like RPGs where like the choice is yours.
Real.
It's not
Hmm.
like nothing that's like set. I found visual novel game thing that I bought called Newfound Courage,
Hmm.
which is a
Hmm.
queer love story of them going back to like their hometown or something, and they have to like change things up or whatever. And I haven't
Hmm.
actually played it yet. It's on my to-do list, but that's like the one. That's the one thing I have where it's like
That's
a
okay.
set. Like
Yeah.
that's how it is.
No, that's
Well, good.
okay. It's also there are definitely ones we can name, but there should definitely be more.
Hmm. Agreed.
Cool. It,
Alrighty.
it looks like perhaps they are ready to
Yes.
transition off. So that's great. We are going to transition off. I'm going to hang up with y'all, but thank you very much for
Yeah.
being on this panel with me.
Well, thank you all for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Um, and oh right, I forgot I got rid of the face cam because of doing them both, but because my camera didn't like it. But I can jump this in real quick. There we go. Hello. Um, yes, so I am going to transition it off to our next streamer. I just want to make sure I get their name, and it's Josh with Dat Boy Juice MG. We'll be playing some games. Thank you very much to our panelists, but let's now hand it off to Dat Boy Juice MG, aka Josh. Thank you very much for streaming with us, Josh.